As a troubleman lineman, one of my responsibilities is to respond to structure fires.
Alright guys, so I don't do this often, but this is a major fire. So we've got a single phase sideline coming in down through the field there. Upon my arrival, I don't have to talk to dispatch at all. It's a very large fire, so I was able to open the high voltage switch. I let a couple of the crews know. Those are the water tanker trucks heading out towards the road. There's no hydrants in this area. So right now I'm going in to have a look for the chief and let him know power is all out in the area. We have to be extremely careful as to our location in this area.
So this happened a couple of weeks ago. As I was approaching the fire, I could see the flames from the highway. They were massive. And knowing the area, I knew where the disconnect switch was.
Jesus.
If you're not familiar with the area, bring up your maps. Obviously, I mentioned that I didn't have to contact my dispatcher in order to shut off the high voltage line feeding down into the farm area where there was probably 6 or 7 structures. So upon my arrival, first thing I did, telescopic stick, opened up that cutout. It was less than a 10 amp fuse, so I don't have to worry about setting up my truck and using a load buster. I simply disconnected that power, which we are allowed to do according to our procedures, only if we are 100% sure what we are doing. If the fire is downtown, you can't just walk around popping open gang switches and breakers hoping you get the right one. You also have to have proper training to know what the switch's capability is for load break, for example. So an important part that I do want to cover here is oftentimes where there was multiple structures, once the fire is beat down and under control, we often disconnect the triplex perhaps, or even occasionally work with the fire chief and an electrician to isolate a breaker feeding a particular area of the building and simply restore power. If an electrician is involved, or depending on the damage, oftentimes there are permits involved. The permit comes from the province. It could be an emergency permit that can be obtained on the spot as long as the electrician is qualified to and authorized to have that paperwork on him. In this situation, there was no lines going to that barn. It was a massive barn. Once I got closer to the fire, I saw there was no power lines in the area. My initial thoughts were I should be able to close that cutout back in and restore power without any issues, but I don't want to get ahead of myself and do that. We wait till things calm down and the fire chief has a moment to chat and we can take a closer look at things. We see that the fire there wasn't much wind, but it was spreading a little bit to other buildings. And what ended up happening was there was a central area where the power fed into, a 400 amp entrance fed into another barn. From there were underground lines feeding 2 homes that were occupied by families, and one of them being the owner of the property, another was rented out. There was also multiple other farming structures. I went into the electrical room to see if there was a way we could isolate the breaker with the underground feeding the barn that's on fire, which there was, kind of, but nothing was labeled, and the fault on those lines heated up the insulation all the way back into the breaker. There was also a lot of water damage in there. Once I got in the building and saw the whole picture, we decided it was not safe to restore power at all. We communicated with the customer as to exactly what was going on, as well as the fire chief, and the homeowner obtained an electrician right away. What we ended up doing, in fact, we had to involve the provincial inspector, but we ended up completely disconnecting that 400 amp entrance, and the following day we were able to run a brand new service to each of the homes. While we're on the topic of structure fires, I do want to give a huge shout out to Gary. He is a volunteer firefighter, was called to do some storm work in the middle of the night, was out in the backyard patrolling line, and I ran into Gary. Great to finally meet you, Gary. Was happy to be able to show up in your community and help out with restoring power. So just wanted to share this quick video with you guys. If you are a lineman and you do get involved in responding to structure fires, always err on the side of caution. Shut the power off, make sure everything is safe for all those involved. I do also want to mention that there was no lost pets or nobody injured in this video. I don't show any content on my channel where there are any injuries. So I'm actually working on that tie wire video now. I just figured I'd take a break. These types of videos are a lot harder to do, and frankly they're not as fun to edit. So it's gonna take me all day. I'm gonna drop this video online right now and get back to work on editing that tie wire video. We're also going to see a new product by Lineman Bucket Products that I want to show you guys. I can see this thing being on every line truck in North America over the next few years. Really great stuff. Great job, guys. Enough chat. I gotta get back to work. Thanks for stopping in as always. Be safe, and we'll see y'all soon.